the practice that we'll do today, my main intention with it is to help you become more intentional with how you move. So I know that I've taught you a lot of different movements over the past several weeks, and for some of you they may feel too challenging, or they may feel like you can't quite get it right. And I don't want you to worry about getting it right. It's more about just doing it and being really mindful, slow, and intentional with those movements, because that's ultimately what's going to shift the way that your body experiences and slows down. So the way that we're going to start today is we're going to do kind of a grounding in terms of a standing meditation. And then we're going to move into the practice a little bit more slowly and more articulate with the movements, so that you can really experience what they should feel like, and also get a sense of where you're still stuck, and then know in your home practice how to emphasize those areas. I also want to remind you that as wonderful as it is that you're practicing maybe 2-3 times a week, I'd like to encourage you to make this a daily practice. You will be blown away by the tremendous impact it makes on your life to create a ritual around your practice, meaning that you make it like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't go to bed without brushing your teeth, at least not most nights, hopefully not any night. But the same thing with your yoga practice. When you wake up in the morning, you've been stiff from inactivity throughout the night, from sleeping. So it's really important that when you wake up, you do so in a way that's refreshing. You allow your body to unwind from all of that stiffness. And by releasing the major joints of the body, this allows you to let go of areas where there's a lot of stagnation. This allows you to lubricate those joints so that your movement becomes more free, so that everything you do, whether it's cleaning or doing work at the computer or cooking or whatever it is that you do throughout your day, picking up your kids, you have more freedom. There isn't so much stagnation that's building up, because if you have a lot of stiffness in the joints to begin with, whatever you do is going to exacerbate that stiffness. But if you create freedom in your body, starting with the major joints of the body, you're going to notice that every other activity that you do throughout your day is going to feel easier. Okay, so we'll start with that. Welcome everyone. So you're going to first just stand with your feet about hip width apart, and you want to make sure that when you're in a standing position that your toes are turned in slightly, that the outer edges of your feet are parallel. Because when I say parallel feet, oftentimes what you may think is your feet are parallel because you're looking at the insides. But when you look at the inner parts of your feet, they should actually be turned in very slightly. Your knees will push out. The tailbone will tuck. In other words, you'll be not here where you're arching, but a little bit of a tuck, so you have the natural tilt in your lower spine. The chest is soft. Your shoulders are nice and relaxed. Your armpits are hollow. And then you take a few deep breaths just to settle into your body. You can close your eyes, make it more internal. And I really want to emphasize for today's practice that we're going to take it nice and easy. There's no rush. You have nowhere else to be but here in this moment. You want to really allow yourself to experience this moment fully, to enjoy it, to relish in it, to savor it. Even when things are difficult, there's always the silver lining. And so we're going to experiment with that idea of focusing on the positive, because what you focus on expands. And we're going to do this with the physical body. So what I'd like you to do is kind of a body scan. And I want you to find areas that feel fairly at ease or comfortable in this moment. And as you find those areas of freedom, you may find that you can breathe a little more freely. So let yourself do that. that are free, as you breathe into them, feel as though they expand and move into the areas that may be a little bit more inhibited in your body. So let's say that you feel a little bit stuck in your right shoulder. Instead of focusing on that area that feels stuck, I want you to find an area in your body that feels free and light. And as you breathe into that region, feel it expand out into all areas of your body, including that right shoulder where you feel stuck. And then as you exhale, notice how everything in your body starts to feel lighter. Take a breath here. And then become aware of your emotional state, the feelings that you've brought with you into your practice today. Remember just to name the feeling rather than try to understand the meaning or the story behind the emotion. And take a breath there. And bring your attention to your thoughts. Where are you in your mind as you begin this practice? Sometimes the mind can be quite quiet, settled, at ease, and at other times it feels like a restless monkey just jumping from branch to branch. Notice where you are. And notice that as you breathe, the mind settles even more. And then pay attention to the environment in which you're standing right now. If you're outside, notice the breeze, the sounds of the birds, the water, the leaves blowing. If you're indoors, just pay attention to whatever it is that you can hear, smell, feel. And then take one deep breath there. To return back, you'll slowly open the eyes, first gazing just a foot or two in front of you, and then lifting the gaze when you're ready, relaxing the shoulders still. Bend your knees slightly and just take your right hand, place your left hand over it, or you can do the reverse, it doesn't matter. You're going to start moving just kind of in a clockwise motion over the abdomen. You can do the circle both directions, both counterclockwise and clockwise, so a few times in each direction. Just massaging, releasing any stagnation that you've accumulated in the core of your body. Breathe. So this is where we hold a lot of tension and stagnation in the core, in the abdominal region, in the guts. This is the area that in the Japanese tradition is known as the hara, and in the Chinese tradition is known as the dantian. So these are major energetic centers of the body that tend to accumulate a lot of stagnation. And simply by massaging these areas, or this particular area, you can start to move that stagnation and circulate it out of your body. So what we're going to do is now draw this energy down. So you're going to start to massage the groins, right? And then into the thighs. So now going into the earth region of the body. So the earth region, particularly the stomach. So stomach channel kind of runs down the body through the nipple line, all the way down the leg, along the slightly lateral side of the leg, down into the shin. So going down into there. And then massaging the tops of your feet as well. And then shaking all of that out. So now you'll just start shaking. So Just moving whatever energy is stuck anywhere in your body. And you can start. You can actually do this with your mouth open as you breathe. So whatever is accumulated, whatever starts to come to the surface, begins to circulate out through the mouth. And then the shoulders, take the hands up, shake everything out, shake the legs. If you feel shy, just close your eyes. Then you won't notice who's watching. Good. Shake it all out. And just bounce. So the exhalation is important because we're trying to clear. When you're doing the breath throughout the regular part of the practice, so that can cause a little bit of dizziness. We'll do a few rounds just to clear and draw the energy back. So inhale and raise the arms. Exhale and pull it back down. Inhale, raise. Exhale, release. Good. Let yourself settle. Inhale and exhale. So when you're trying to clear pathogens or energy out of the body, you want to use the exhale through the mouth. But during the normal class, as we're doing most of the movements, I want you to practice with your mouth closed. So you're going to be doing the Ujjayi breath, which you do by forming a slight constriction in the back of your throat, like you're whispering. You'll do that both with your inhale and exhale. And then close your mouth, and that whisper gets a little bit more internal, so you don't hear it quite as loudly. And what this does is it allows you to expand or extend the length of your breathing. So every inhale and exhale gets longer, which does what? It actually starts to calm your nervous system down, because the more deeply you're able to breathe, the more slow and steady you become internally. That starts to relax all of the muscles of the body, which then sends the signal to the brain that there's no emergency. You can go into a more parasympathetic state and start to feel more settled. So take 3 breaths just like that. Always cue your breathing, because it is easy to forget to breathe deeply. I understand that. But I want you to also be really mindful today, and throughout every time you practice, your breath is the most important thing for you to listen to. If you're not breathing and you're simply moving, you're not really practicing. So I want you to take a few deep breaths right now. Notice how you start to become more settled, more calm, more clear. And we'll just start to bring chi or energy into the body as you lift the arms. Lift from the wrists. So let the wrist rise, and then when you drop, you'll bend your knees a little bit and let the wrist, the back of the wrist, the inside part, release. So as you lift, the tops of your wrists go up. As you drop, the knees bend. So do that a few times. Inhale and exhale. This is a great little Qigong exercise you can do to start to connect to your breathing more fully, even as you prepare to start your practice. Because like I mentioned, if you're not connected to the breath, you will not get the benefits of the practice, not nearly as much. It's that breath connected to the movement that really starts to clear the stagnation out of your body and mind. Good. Keep breathing. Inhale to lift, exhale to drop. Notice as my knees bend when I come down, they slightly lift when I come up. So it's the whole body's involved in the movement. And now we're going to start to bring this movement up into the chest. So to start to open the chest up a little bit. As you inhale, you'll bring the arms a little bit higher and then start to open. This is still an inhale. So there's kind of a retention. You pause your breath here and then exhale here. So now we're doing Kumbhaka, breath retention. Inhale, pause, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Breathe in and breathe out. Notice the tops of my wrists rise, they go out, then the inner parts of the wrists bring me in, and then palms face forward as I come down. Let's do one more time. Inhale, and exhale. Good. We'll start to open the major joints of the body, beginning with the neck, but we're going to go a little bit more slowly with the exercises. You're going to lift one shoulder and pull that ear, the same ear, to that shoulder. Notice how there isn't a drop in this position. It's simply a pulling of the neck. So you're really lengthening the opposite side. And then go to the other side and go side to side, slowly as you need. You may hear the snap, crackle, and pop, especially in the beginning stages when the neck is still tight. That will free up with practice. Relax your jaw. Side to side. And then we're going to take the movement front and back. So this time you're going to pull the shoulders back, the neck comes forward, and then pull the neck back, the shoulders just go forward and back. Go slowly as you need, especially if you have a lot of tension in your neck or a neck injury from the past. You want to be really gentle with these movements. And then come back, lift your shoulders slightly so you feel as though there's space in your clavicle. It's not, your shoulders are not dropped all the way, but they're not lifting up towards your ears either. You want to make sure they're just kind of in that neutral position. Now you'll start to drop the ear to the shoulder, and as you do that, my shoulder's going to lift a little higher. You go side to side. Go slowly as you need. Breathe. Relax your jaw. Make sure your feet are still parallel. Good, and then bring your chin to your chest, and then take your head back. Chin to chest, head back. This is a really good exercise to do to lengthen the neck, right? This area starts to kind of droop as we get older. So you really want to stretch the front of your neck, back and forth. Still, notice my shoulders. They're in a neutral position. Not lifted all the way, but not dropped all the way down either. Breathe and breathe as you move, as slowly as you need to go. Good. And bring your chin down. Drop your shoulders first, then lift your head up. Now we'll go right into the shoulders. You're going to come forward and back. Forward, back. Forward, back. And then we'll start to draw circles. So you're going to come forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. In full circles. Very nice. So this will really help to open up the shoulder girdle, release also a lot of tension that tends to accumulate in the jaw. For those of you who have TMJ or you clench your teeth at night, all that stress of life, having trouble digesting it, it gets trapped in the mouth and the jaw. So this is an excellent exercise to free all that up. So now we'll go reverse directions. So now you're going to go back, up, forward, and down. It's 4 parts that will weave together. becomes one continuous motion. And as you really start to get into this, what you can actually do is you can start to wave your spine a little more. But really keep the work in the shoulders. If I were to be using my arms would be floating up and down while I do this. But because I'm using my shoulders, my hands stay close to my body, and they just brush and brush and brush. These are limp. They're not doing the work. Good. Breathe. Good. And then slow that down and shake it out. Now we're going to start to brush the sides of your body. Remember, the gallbladder region has to do with detoxification. Gallbladder is a meridian in Chinese medicine that's also associated with clear decision making. So when there's stagnation in the gallbladder channel, you're going to feel like you can't quite pivot to make the right decisions. So that's what's going to inhibit your clarity. You just want to brush the sides of your body. There's no movement in the hips, just lengthening the torso. And we're going to go nice and slow. Really feel the movement. Breathe into it. Notice where you may be stuck and avoid pushing past that area. Instead, breathe more deeply and see if that region can just soften and relax. Yes. In order for the nervous system to be settled, the muscles of the body must be relaxed. So it's important to deepen your breaths and really work to release any areas that are stuck. And a lot of times we hold muscular tension just by habit. I see people clenching their jaws or tightening their fists or their shoulders, not because they're actually stressed, but just because in times of stress they've gotten used to doing that. So even when they're not stressed out, they continue that same pattern. I even find myself doing that. Slow that down. Good. And now we're going to work on the rotation of the shoulders. So you're going to circle in and circle out. Circle in and out. Nice and slow. So notice as I'm moving my arms, the full rotation of the arm is happening. Shoulder, top of the shoulder comes forward and back. Forward, back. Both sides. So it's like this expansion. If you had wings behind your back, you would be spreading them as you come forward. Right? Now let's see if we can take that movement and move the arms up. Now let's see if we can alternate the movement of the arms. So one arm is going to come forward, the other one is going to swing back. So one arm forward, one arm back. Breathe. Remember, a lot of the emotional stuckness or emotional stagnation that we experience gets trapped in the chest. So as we free up the arms, the wrists, the shoulders, you can free up that emotional energy that isn't quite moving. Yes. No matter how tight the shoulders are, just go slowly, breathe into it, and you'll find freedom little by little. Even if that doesn't happen today, daily practice, that's what makes the difference. Small steps to make big changes. Good, and then bring that down, and again, forward and back. Now we're going to integrate another piece into this movement. So you're going to start to lift your knee and pull the shoulders in and back. Lift and back. Lift and back. And eventually you really want to be straight lifting. So I'm pulling the knee up as high as I can. Even if today you're only able to come here, that's enough. So do this. Eventually it's not a leaning forward motion. It's a lift to meet the shoulders with the knee. And make sure you're rotating your arm all the way, as much as you can, right? Breathe. Inhale and exhale. Point your toe, or point your toes as you lift the knee up. Breathe. And now you're really getting into the core of your body too, strengthening that area. Keep on breathing. Listen for your breaths. Do 2 more on each side. Good. And then shake that out. Now let's rotate. First, just begin moving your hips. As I move my hips, if my arms are loose and relaxed enough, we've done all that work to release the shoulders, so they should feel a little looser. They'll just follow the movement of the hips. And swing and swing. If it's comfortable, you can turn your head, but make sure you're not pulling the neck and straining it. To go deeper, you can lift the back heel off the ground. That'll also protect your lower back. Breathe. And slow down internally. If you're rushing to do these movements, slow it down. You don't have to stay exactly on pace with what I'm doing. Just breathe where you are. And slow, 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 slow it down. Get your feet back to parallel. Good. And all that movement in the upper body, let's anchor it down. Inhale and lift. Exhale, pull it down. Inhale and lift the arms. Exhale, drop it down to your center. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. So again, the idea is to use your practice to pay closer attention to your breath. If you think about it that way, then you're not working so much on the physical body. The physical body naturally follows the rhythm of the breath. So as you breathe, then you move. And as you breathe more deeply, the movement becomes more fluid. And then you feel like you're finding calm rather than frustration through your practice. Because it's not about how advanced you are. It's really about what you're doing and the experience of that movement internally in your body. So take your hands to your hips. Let's work into the hips a little bit. We'll start with really small, slow circles. So it's a tiny movement. You'll see there isn't much happening, right? It's more internal. You want to kind of visualize like a little clock underneath you, hitting every hour along that clock. As you breathe, good, and then let's start to make these circles a little bit bigger. So you'll go side, side, back, forward. So side, side, and then I'll come forward to the side and back. And as I go back, I'm kind of bending forward, right? Because you want to feel this pull in the hamstrings. So now we're stretching the hamstrings, the area through which the bladder meridian runs. So the bladder meridian has everything to do with how we move forward in life. And if we're moving too quickly, the bladder meridian will tighten up. Because it's like the kidneys, which are linked to the bladder in Chinese medicine, the kidneys need to hold their energy. They're your essential energy. So when you're moving too fast, the kidneys, the lower back, the backs of your leg, the bladder meridian will all become tight as a way to tell you to slow down. One more round. Good, and then come up. So anytime you have lower back pain, if it's just tightness, don't think of it as a way for your body to signal you to take it a little easier. If you listen to that, most of the time the lower back pain subsides. So reverse directions now. Your body always has a very insightful way of communicating with you. So if you just listen to that communication and heed to to kind of the warning signs, you will most definitely prevent bigger problems from coming up later on. Breathe. And then go side, forward, all the way to the side and back. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. Breathe. Good. Good. One more. Good. And then come up. Shake it all out. Shake out the wrists. Shake out the ankles. Up and down. And shake the other side. Shake, shake. And then we're going to cup the knees. So the knees are an extension of the kidneys in Chinese medicine. You want to take give very careful attention to these very delicate joints. As you cup the knees, you're going to put the elbows out, spread your wings again, and then come up. So we'll do that 10 times. You're bending deeply and lifting. Breathe. 3 more. Good, and then stay here. Pull the abdomen in. So you're in as low of a squat as is comfortable for you. Knees pull back so you should be able to see your toes. And from here I want you to lift your arms up. Relax your toes. Sit deeper into the heels of your feet and tuck your tailbone. If it's uncomfortable for you to keep your arms up, bring the hands to the chest or just place them on the hips. Keep your chest lifted, dip a little deeper. Breathe. Let's take 3 deep breaths here. You're stronger than you think you are. Just breathe into this. The final exhale, go a little bit deeper, and then with your inhale, lift up, pressing into the legs. Really use the strength of your thighs. Come up, relax, and let's anchor it all down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Release. And if you haven't quite worked up a sweat, let's do that one more time. So it's a variation of Utkatasana, chair pose. Make sure that your feet are parallel, the outer edges of your feet. You're going to sit back into the heels, lift the arches of your feet up, bend your knees. So sit as though you're about to sit in a chair. Tuck your tailbone a little, lift your chest, extend. If you can't get the extension or if that makes you uncomfortable, hands can come here or here. Relax the shoulders. This is really important. Sit deeper, relax so that you're using the strength of your legs. If you compromise that, the energy is going to go into your knees. Sit into the glutes, sit into the legs, and take 3 breaths. Pull the abdomen in. Breathe and breathe. Sit a little bit deeper with your next exhalation. And then use your inhale and the strength of your legs to lift. Very nice. Pivot back. Let's do one more round of clearing. Inhale. Pull the energy from the heavens up along the back of your spine and then down through the front of your body. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. Now, women, you're going to place your right hand over the navel, cover it with the left. Gentlemen, you'll do the opposite. So whatever that is for you, just place the hand on the lower part of the abdomen, just below the navel. Cover the other hand. Relax the shoulders, hollow the armpits. So there's enough flow of energy through every part of your body. You can take a couple of breaths just to settle in. Make sure that your knees are softly bent. You can close your eyes. Settle back down. So it's this fine line, or this balance between rigorous activity, which heats up the body, so it gets that stagnation or tension circulating out of the body, and the calm, the breathing that helps you stay more centered and present. That perfect balance is what will allow your nervous system to quiet effectively, no matter what's going on in your life. So you move your body, circulate that chi, using your breath to signal to your brain that it can quiet, that it can settle, that it's all going to be okay. And it is. In this moment, everything is perfect. There's nowhere else you need to be, nothing else to do. But feel, experience, and just be. Remember that this is your natural state, this state of calm. And with simple practices, you can return to this state no matter what transpires around you. It just takes a little bit of effort and a lot of breathing. Feel as though the energy from your hands brings warmth to the lower abdominal region, and that warmth radiates through the body into your back, bringing energy to the kidneys, to the most essential energetic home in your entire body. Feeling grounded, feeling stable, feeling calm. Take one more breath here. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Warm up the hands, wake yourself back up. Just pat down the arms, the shoulders, the legs, going down the outsides of the legs, up the inner sides. One more time. And bringing that warmth into the kidneys, to your lower back. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Thank you for sharing your time, your energy, and for continuing to do the best you can to stay calm, present, and help to create a ripple effect with that calmness throughout the rest of the world. Namaste.